Hello. So I'm getting ready to take the kids out for ice cream because it's Wednesday and ice cream's $1. But I didn't feel like writing my notes today during my devotion. And so I'm just going to talk them and I can transfer them later, or maybe I'll just always do this with my notes. Well, so today we're reading about Abraham, and I think it's Genesis maybe 20 something. And in this chapter we're on today, Abraham has once again told somebody that his wife was his sister. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I don't understand. Why do you keep telling people your wife is your sister? That's weird. And I get he said that she technically is his sister, and that's a whole nother story. But so Abraham once again told somebody his wife is his sister. And so it made me start to think about Abraham's character or his personality or whatever. So I'm kind of getting the gist that Abraham had some serious fear issues. Because for whatever reason, it's like he does not like, I guess, confrontation, or he won't speak up for himself. And at first I thought he was just kind of a real noble dude, you know, the way he gave Lot the better land, or, well, actually, maybe it wasn't the better land since, you know, the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing ended up happening later. So, but anyways, yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my hands around him because I think of in the beginning, God told him, I want you to leave your family and go to this place. Well, instead of leaving his family and going to this place, he decided to take his nephew Lot with him. Why he did that, I don't know, because God said, leave your family, and Lot was his family. So he wasn't really listening all the way. And then he took Lot, and Lot ended up causing him all this trouble with the 5 kings and the drama, and you have to pull Lot out of that, and then whatever. And even though it turned out okay, later on, and who knows, maybe this still would have happened if, you know, it wouldn't have happened. But I was reading, and it said Lot's, the children that Lot ended up having with his daughters. Yeah, that's really interesting, right? Ended up being enemies of Abraham. And so it made me think of also, because that's the second time that has happened, I think, where, oh, yeah, with Abraham and, okay, so when they had the baby with Hagar's son, Ishmael maybe, his descendants, yeah, ended up being enemies of Abraham as well. So what I'm gathering so far from what I'm reading, and I need to dig a little more, Abraham would not stand up for himself. He must have been a very easy-go-lucky kind of guy, and he didn't like drama or confrontation because he was willing to just give his nephew the better land, and maybe he's just a nice person, but then his wife tells him to go and sleep with the maid lady, and then she's blaming him for the fact that she can't have babies. And that's a whole nother thing altogether. But it seemed like Lot was a very gentle, kind man, and not really one to voice what things that need to be said. And it said he was a prophet too, and that's pretty dangerous when you're a prophet and you won't say what needs to be said. And it seems very much like he definitely, to me, has the prophet relationship where God's coming to talk to him over and over and over again. And sometimes God came and he'd bring angels with him and all that kind of stuff. And so he had a great relationship, it seemed, with God. God would talk to him. Even, God confided in him. And that's pretty consistent with his dealings with other prophets too, where I think of where God's getting ready to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and he's like, should I tell Abraham? And then he does tell Abraham, and then he's able to barter with him. And I saw that a lot through the Bible, where God, he would say something, kind of like with Hezekiah, he sent the prophet to tell Hezekiah, I hope Hezekiah's the right dude, but he sent the prophet to tell Hezekiah, you're getting ready to die. And then Hezekiah's like, no, I don't want to die. And I think he ended up begging or praying, and then God let him live. And then it ended up turning out bad because after he was able to live, he went and showed other people, and the people ended up taking all his stuff, which wasn't really wise. And so it kind of made me wonder maybe if it would have been better if Hezekiah would have just died when he was supposed to, because I think during that time that he lived, he ended up having that son that was like the super evil son. And yeah, you can play with Play-Doh. And so he had the super evil son that was like the evilest of the evil. And so, yeah, so anywho, so those are just some of my thoughts about today's. I don't know how I got on Hezekiah, but yeah. But I was just thinking of Abraham, and I think that he doesn't stand up for himself. And I know that God can always make things like no matter how bad we go off schedule with our life and what we do and all that, God can always scoop it back together and make something beautiful out of it. But I feel like Abraham kept making his life harder for him by trying to fashion together his own solutions and do whatever he wanted to do, as opposed to doing what he was told. God told you to go and leave your family. Why are you taking Lot? God told you he was going to give you a child. Why are you listening to your wife? Now, I'm sure it might have kept the house a whole lot quieter because, you know, happy wife, happy life. But I feel like his life would have been a whole lot easier had he just left it alone. Anywho, so those are my thoughts for today. I'm going to dig a little bit more. Kind of disappointed in Abraham for telling the king that his wife was a sister. I'm glad that God went and spoke to the king so that he didn't do anything with her or whatever. But it's weird. It's so weird. And so I'm just trying to make sense of it, and I'm still at the beginning, so I'm sure there's a lot that I could learn. Oh, one thing I learned is, this was pretty cool. So I always thought of Lot as not really being a good guy. One, because he went and got into that trouble, and then that Abraham had to get him out of. So I thought Lot wasn't a good guy. Plus, he's like living smack dab in the middle of Sodom and Gomorrah, which made me think that Lot wasn't a good dude. But I was looking in 2 Peter's, and it was talking about how Lot was a righteous man in the middle of bad people. And that made so much sense, because if you look at the story of Lot, so I was reading about the traditions of that time and all that kind of stuff, and it was talking about how the leaders of like the village or the town or whatever they called them in those days, the leaders would be at the gate, and that's where they would discuss ideas and all that stuff. So when Lot was at the gate, that was when he saw the angels coming to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and then he tried to take them into his house and protect him. But you could tell the way that the city reacted to Lot. Like, they came to his house and they're like trying to beat down his door, and he's trying to protect them, and they're not respecting him. And then his son-in-laws didn't respect him, and I'm guessing his son-in-laws were at the door or his soon-to-be son-in-laws were at the door to also rape the angels, because it said every man in the village. And if it was every man in the village, I'm pretty sure the son-in-laws lived in the village, because they were left there and they wouldn't leave with him. So I guess he was a righteous man, but maybe he was also pretty passive as well. Anywho, those are my thoughts. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.